6 Hollywood legends who died in 2025. In 2025, Hollywood did not lose 6 legends to the grave, but something just as final happened. In the public eye, the era died. For the first time, names that once defined cinema were no longer present, no longer active, no longer shaping the moment. To Hollywood's current machine, they are considered finished. Their era is treated as over, their relevance declared dead. This documentary is not about rumors or misinformation. It is about how legends are quietly written off and why what they gave still matters long after the industry moves on. Number 1. Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman was born on January 30th, 1930, in San Bernardino, California, into a life that offered little certainty and even less comfort. His father left when Gene was still a boy, walking past him one day without a word. A moment Hackman would later describe as formative, a quiet fracture that shaped his understanding of men, absence, and emotional restraint. He did not grow up dreaming of stardom. He grew up learning how to endure. Unlike most Hollywood icons, Hackman arrived late and resisted polish. He served in the Marines, studied journalism, failed auditions, and was repeatedly told he lacked the looks to succeed. When success finally came, it did not announce itself gently. The French Connection introduced audiences to a kind of authority that felt lived in, dangerous, and unmistakably real. Hackman did not perform characters. He inhabited them. Corrupt cops, broken fathers, quiet villains, reluctant heroes. He carried moral weight in his posture alone. By the time the industry fully embraced him, Hackman had already decided something unusual. He would leave on his own terms. In the early 2000s, he stepped away from acting entirely, retreating into privacy without explanation, farewell, or nostalgia tour. By 2025, his silence had become legendary. No interviews, no appearances, no final bow, just absence. Gene Hackman's contribution to cinema cannot be measured in awards alone. He redefined masculinity on screen, not as dominance, but as consequence. He proved that aging could deepen power, that restraint could be more compelling than charm, and that walking away could be the most honest performance of all. Hollywood did not lose Gene Hackman. It learned how rare he truly was. Number 2. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was born on December 31st, 1959 in Los Angeles, California, into a childhood shaped by both privilege and loss. Brilliant and intensely driven, he became the youngest student ever accepted into the Juilliard School's drama division, a distinction that announced his talent long before Hollywood understood how to handle it. From the beginning, Kilmer was not chasing fame. He was chasing precision, truth in voice, posture, and inner life. His rise was swift but never simple. Kilmer could be magnetic and difficult, generous and uncompromising. In Top Gun, he turned a supporting role into a cultural imprint. In The Doors, he disappeared so completely into Jim Morrison that even Morrison's bandmates were unsettled. These were not performances built for approval. They were acts of immersion. Hollywood admired his talent, but often struggled with his refusal to dilute it. As the years passed, Kilmer's career became a study in contrast. Blockbusters followed by quiet retreats, acclaim shadowed by misunderstanding. Then illness entered his life, altering not only his voice, but his relationship with time itself. By 2025, Kilmer appeared rarely, each public moment carrying the weight of survival and reflection. He spoke less, but when he did, it felt earned. Val Kilmer's contribution to Hollywood lies in his fearlessness. He demonstrated that acting could be devotional, that risk was inseparable from art, and that vulnerability did not erase strength. His legacy is not a smooth arc, but a courageous one, marked by intensity, sacrifice, and a relentless commitment to becoming something true, even when the cost was high. Number 3. Robert Redford. Robert Redford was born on August 18, 1936, in Santa Monica, California, carrying a quiet contradiction that would define his life, the face of a movie star and the temperament of a skeptic. Early success came quickly, but it never fully satisfied him. Even at the height of his popularity, Redford resisted the machinery of celebrity, uneasy with attention and wary of institutions that prized profit over purpose. His rise through films like Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid and The Sting made him an emblem of American confidence. Yet Redford's true ambition extended beyond performance. He wanted authorship, control, a voice in how stories were told and who was allowed to tell them. That instinct led him behind the camera, and later to something far more consequential, the founding of the Sundance Institute. Sundance was not a vanity project, it was a structural intervention. Redford created a space where independent voices could survive outside studio constraints, where filmmakers could fail safely and grow honestly. Over decades, that decision reshaped modern cinema, influencing thousands of careers and altering what audiences came to expect from film itself. By 2025, Redford's withdrawal from public life felt complete and intentional. He had stepped back without bitterness or spectacle, leaving behind a body of work that no longer required defense. His absence was not a disappearance, it was a conclusion reached with clarity. Robert Redford's contribution to Hollywood cannot be reduced to his films alone. He changed the ecosystem. He proved that legacy is not only about what you create, but about what you protect and pass forward. In choosing stewardship over spotlight, Redford ensured that his influence would continue long after his image faded from the screen. Number 4. Diane Keaton. Diane Keaton was born on January 5, 1946 in Los Angeles, California, into a household shaped by discipline, faith, and ambition. From an early age, she showed little interest in fitting neatly into expectations. She studied drama with seriousness, not vanity, and entered Hollywood with an intellect that often felt out of step with the industry's demands. That difference would become her signature. Her early collaborations in the 1970s redefined what a leading woman could be. On screen, Keaton was articulate yet uncertain, romantic yet analytical, stylish without surrendering authority. She did not perform femininity as decoration. She questioned it. Annie Hall was not simply a role, it was a cultural shift, offering audiences a woman who thought aloud, contradicted herself, and remained compelling precisely because she was real. Keaton's career refused to settle into a single identity. She moved between comedy and drama, ensemble work and leading roles, prestige films and popular hits. More importantly, she aged publicly without retreat or apology. At a time when Hollywood often erased women past a certain age, Keaton continued, working steadily, speaking candidly, and refusing to disguise time's imprint. By 2025, her presence felt measured and deliberate. She appeared less frequently, choosing projects and moments that aligned with her values rather than visibility. There was no farewell announcement, only a growing sense that she had already said what mattered most, and said it honestly. Diane Keaton's contribution to Hollywood lies in expansion. She widened the emotional and intellectual space available to women on screen, proving that complexity could be attractive and independence could endure. Her legacy is not one of reinvention, but of consistency, remaining herself in an industry that often demands surrender. Number 5. Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner was born on March 6, 1947, in the Bronx, New York, into a family already woven into the fabric of American entertainment. As the son of legendary filmmaker Carl Reiner, expectations followed him early, but Rob did not rush toward authorship. He first became known as an actor, portraying the outspoken meathead on All in the Family, a role that placed him at the center of cultural debate during a divided era in American history. Even then, his instincts leaned toward meaning rather than attention. When Reiner moved behind the camera, something rare happened. He became a director audiences trusted. His films did not rely on spectacle or cynicism. They relied on emotional clarity. Stand By Me captured the fragile transition between childhood and adulthood with tenderness. The Princess Bride embraced sincerity in a time that often mocked it. A Few Good Men confronted moral responsibility without shouting. Across genres, Reiner returned to the same quiet question: who are we when it matters? His career was marked by steadiness, not reinvention. Reiner did not chase trends. He refined values: friendship, justice, accountability, memory. These themes appeared again and again, anchoring his work in human experience rather than era-specific fashion. By 2025, Reiner's public presence had softened. He spoke less, directed less, and allowed his body of work to speak without commentary. There was no dramatic exit, only a gradual withdrawal that felt earned. His films remained, revisited by new generations who discovered that sincerity does not age. Rob Reiner's contribution to Hollywood is trust. He proved that stories could be principled without being preachy, emotional without manipulation. In an industry often chasing novelty, Reiner built a legacy on reliability, and that quiet consistency became his greatest achievement. Number 6, June Lockhart. June Lockhart was born on June 25, 1925, in New York City, into a family already immersed in performance and discipline. Her parents were actors, and from an early age, Lockhart absorbed the rhythms of rehearsal, patience, and professionalism. Yet her career would not be defined by ambition or reinvention. It would be defined by steadiness, by being present when audiences needed reassurance most. Lockhart's rise coincided with the formative years of American television, and she became one of its most trusted faces. To generations of viewers, she was warmth without sentimentality, authority without harshness. As the mother figure on Lassie and later on Lost in Space, she represented calm in moments of danger, clarity in confusion, and compassion without weakness. Her performances did not demand attention. They invited trust. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Lockhart did not disappear as the industry changed. She endured. Her career quietly spanned radio, early television, color broadcasting, and the modern era, an almost unmatched timeline. By the time audiences stopped seeing her regularly on screen, she had already become something larger than a performer. She had become a memory shared across generations. By 2025, June Lockhart's name carried a particular kind of gravity. She rarely appeared publicly, yet her presence was felt whenever conversations turned to television's golden age. Her longevity itself became her final statement. Not loud, not nostalgic, just undeniable. June Lockhart's contribution to Hollywood was continuity. She embodied a moral steadiness that outlasted trends, reminding audiences that kindness could be compelling and consistency could be powerful. In an industry built on reinvention, Lockhart proved that remaining true to character, to craft, to grace could be its own lasting legacy.